Go live.
Oh, Stephanie, I'm looking forward to today's conversation. We've got kind of a heavy hitter on today to talk about marketing and sales. It's the founder of
Goldmine.
Goldmine and Nimble. Yeah, I use Goldmine as well, so I'm looking forward to it. How's your day going, Steph?
Yeah, good. We're just about to get some more snow, I think, which I'm not a huge fan of. And it kind of reminded me of a story when my kids were little. My son, he's a quirky kid, and he had made this snowman in the front yard. And he had the snowman had assumed this persona. And he would tell me all these stories about the snowman. And there was one, like that day that he came and he said, the snowman's really upset. Like he's really upset about something and whatever. And I was like, okay, well, let's go talk to the snowman. And we went outside and there was no consoling the snowman. He had a total meltdown.
That was a long way to get to the punchline, Steph. It was a long. I have a really simple dad joke for you. Why was E the only letter to get a Christmas present? Because because the other letters were not E.
Oh God.
Was it worth it? It wasn't. See, if it sucks and it's short, it's okay. All right, let's start it.
Let's have this conversation. Let's dive in.
All right, who decided where marketing ends and sales begin in your company? Terminus, the ABM platform, watched their sales and marketing teams hit every individual metric while their pipeline velocity dropped by 40%. The problem wasn't performance. It was that nobody owned the gap between the departments. Today on How to Founder Steph, we'll be talking about the structural decisions that turn marketing and sales into allies or enemies. I, today, am your host, Anthony Franco, and with me is my lovely and not green co-host, Stephanie Hayes. And today joining us is the former Jon Ferrara, who built Goldmine in 1989 and Nimble in 2009, spending 3 decades watching companies accidentally design their marketing and sales teams to fight each other. He's here to show us how to have you. Where are you calling in from?
I'm in Asheville, North Carolina, just at the western edge of North Carolina in the Appalachian Mountains. And it's a beautiful day today here, sunny blue skies. And I'm so happy to be here with you both.
Wolfpack, right?
Yes. Wolfpack.
Yeah, my brother-in-law was a coach there for the football team for a little bit, strength and conditioning coach. So I've been there, loved the state. Again, super excited to chat with you. Would you be willing to fill in a little bit of the background that I missed? Sure.
So I really got started in this business because I had a need in the sales and marketing business. I was put into a sales role at a startup technology company, and they gave me, quote, leads, which was sheets of paper with phone numbers of IT people at big corporations. They said, go get them. And I'd cold call them on the phone and put notes on the piece of paper and do my forecast on a spreadsheet. And I said, this is really dumb. And there was no Salesforce. There was no Outlook. There was no email marketing. And what I really wanted to do was to run a wire through all of our daytimers so everybody was on one page. So no matter who picked up the phone, you know, who you're talking to, what happened, what's going to happen, who's going to do it. With some sales and market automation, couldn't find it. So I quit my job and started Goldmine on $5,000. Over the next 10 years, we grew it to hundreds of millions of dollars a year in revenue with no venture capital, no bank loans, and sold it for cash. I retired at 40, spent 10 years raising 3 babies. And then social media hit, and I saw the way it was going to change the way we work, play, buy, and sell. I talked LinkedIn into giving me their public and private APIs. I built LinkedIn Sales Navigator before it existed, pioneered social CRM and social selling. and then LinkedIn pulled the API, and all the other social people pulled the APIs. And so I saw Microsoft coming out with Microsoft 365, and I knew they would eat Google just in the same way that Microsoft ate Novell back in the day. And I integrated with Microsoft's tools, and we became the simple CRM for Microsoft 365. And today, we're the engagement engine for growth for companies that are tired of getting nickel and dime by companies like HubSpot and Salesforce. We have a complete CRM with email marketing and the SFA tools that you need, like Apollo or Outreach, all for one price, $29 per user per month. But what really makes Nimble different is it's about relationships. It's not about reporting or revenue. The reason why they call it Salesforce, you have to force salespeople to use it. Most CRMs are built for management. And that's why if you buy a CRM, you got to go buy 5 different tools: Outreach, sales Outreach, Apollo, ZoomInfo, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, to just use your CRM. And I think that's pretty stupid. And so the focus of Nimble is not sales as much as relationships for the whole company, because less than 5% of the people in your company are in sales. Everybody else is touching the constituency around your business, but they don't have a relationship tool to use. Outlook isn't really a good contact manager, so they all resort to spreadsheets, and we fix that.
That's awesome. So you've running a company, you have both. I'm really curious, actually. How does Nimble define the difference between sales and marketing?
Well, marketing owns creating the eyeballs, and sales owns closing the eyeballs. But the problem is that marketing creates these leads, and they think they're great. They throw them over the wall, and the sales reps basically say these stink, and they don't do anything with them. And most smart salespeople are really building their own leads by building their brand and their network and getting people to call them. And so I think the disconnect is they use different tools, right? Marketing uses market automation, email marketing, sales uses a CRM. They have different metrics. They have different compensation levels, and they don't trust or talk to each other. And the way we fix that at Goldmine is everybody in the company had one number, and everybody in the company was compensated on that number. I'm talking everybody, even the shipping team.
Yeah,
everybody got shares, and we all benefited, and we hit our numbers.
So if the line's that simple, right? The episode's over. It's marketing owns eyeballs coming in, and sales owns the relationships and closing it.
Yeah.
But there's always tension and conflict. So, Stephanie, where have you experienced that?
So this came up before for us, where we talked about this role of a CRO, right? And how that was meant to kind of harmonize the two. And, I can't even tell you how many times I've been in a startup or a small tech company or a bigger organization where sales and marketing are actually two very different parts of the organization, and their motivations are different, their personalities are different, their compensation is different, and that misalignment really creates these cultural tensions that don't serve the business, right? So that's where I've seen it, and I'm curious, tell me a little bit more about how Nimble sort of seeks to solve that problem.
Well, Nimble is one relationship management system for the whole company. So number one is we do what Outlook should be doing, which is a contact manager for your whole company. So you have one source of truth on relationships. And that includes all your business relationships and your press relationships and everything. Number two is we have a single system for your email marketing and your sales. And so most systems have a email marketing system that has a contact record that has maybe a tag that you could segment on, not much more. And if you can't segment on good detailed data on people and companies, then you can't target messages and communications. And so you have your marketing program. I mean, yeah, you might be using HubSpot for everything, but a lot of businesses out there use MailChimp or Constant Contact or whatever they're using. And the email marketing systems aren't really built for real relationships. They're built for automations, pound, 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 pound. And then the CRM has the contacts for the salespeople, and basically the leads are thrown over, and the marketing people work in months and quarters, and the salespeople work in days. And the whole alignment isn't really there. And so when you have a lead or a contact in Nimble, if you're doing drip and email marketing and all of a sudden it becomes lead qualified, the sales rep can go into the same contact record and see the same history that's happened of what the marketing automations have done. And the marketing people can go back and see exactly what the salespeople are doing. And I think that's the real disconnect, is that marketing always says, well, you don't follow up on my leads quick enough. And sales says, well, you give me crappy leads. But if they're living out of the same system with the same metrics and goals, it changes the relationship of the whole company.
So you're saying you should, I'm gonna connect some dots that you didn't, that maybe are they're incorrect. You measure both sales, well, you measure the whole company on one metric.
Yes.
Is that just top line?
It could be as simple as top line. Ultimately,
well,
it could be sub goals for the departments where there are goals, of course. Yeah. But ultimately, we threw a lot of money in bonuses at the team, and it was essentially hitting the number. I mean, everything rolls up to that. And what that does is it changes the way a customer service person might do a phone call, because they know that every single touch, every single moment leads to potentially their ability to hit the number. And I really believe that service is the new sales. And so of course, there isn't one number for everybody in the whole company, and that's it, right? There are metrics that you have to perform, and marketing and sales and support all have their own metrics. But the bonus is about the dollars. It's about getting that chart moving up and to the right. And at Goldmine, we killed it. I mean, we were the boss.
So let me ask let me ask the obvious question, because I want to hear your response to this, Jon. Yeah. Why do marketing and sales fight? Why is there that perceived tension?
Trust, communication.
Okay.
It's the basics of relationships.
Say more.
They live in different departments in different silos. I often tell people that the marketing team is like that red shirt guy in Star Trek that goes down to the planet that always gets killed. When the companies, if you ever watch Star Trek, the guy in the red shirt?
Yeah.
And so the marketing people are the people that get shot first, because you always think, well, it's the marketing people that aren't generating the right leads and bringing in the right opportunities. But I really believe that if they all worked on the same page, and I thought a CRO was going to fix this myself, but it really hasn't. And I think that a big problem is they don't meet in the same room. They don't really talk and communicate. They don't use the same tool, and they don't have a shared metrics that they're working off of. And so I think that marketing's job is to really identify who's going to buy, and then create why they should buy, and prepare buyers to engage with the salespeople. And the salespeople basically are there to qualify and close that business. But I just don't think it's happened in the way that it should.
Go ahead, Steph.
I was just going to say, so if you are, you're at the design stage of a new business, and you are a founder, and you are wanting to do this right, does the integration between those two functions within the organization look different from the get-go, or does it evolve in some other way?
I think it should look different from the get-go. I think that the biggest problem is siloed people, siloed systems, limited communication. And that inherently creates distrust.
Have you seen a shift Well, I'm looking at nimble.com now and noticing I don't even need to talk to a salesperson to start.
No.
How do I say this? I'm just going to ask it bluntly. Have you devalued sales by making it customer self-service?
No, I think most people don't want to talk to salespeople. They want to talk to somebody who has their interests in mind. Somebody wants to help them achieve their goals. And so at Nimble, we don't have salespeople. We essentially, and we don't really spend money on marketing. So we drive all of our eyeballs through guerrilla marketing, earned eyeballs. So we tell stories and other people tell those stories. They're more powerful when other people talk about you than when you talk about you. So when I first founded Nimble, I went out and identified the top thought leaders in and around the areas of our promise of our product and services. So thought leaders in social, sales, and marketing. And I began to go out and share their content, hashtag their tags, hashtag their names, and tag the categories, and not just share the title, but rewrite the title with an intent like, okay, I read this, I understand it, and I'm amplifying it. And then begin to engage with those thought leaders. And in many cases, they reach out to me before I even reach out to them after me sharing their stuff for a short period of time. And then we had a one-on-one conversation like you and I are having. And then they began to use Nimble, and then they began to talk about it and recommend it. And combining that influencer marketing with guerrilla PR and biz dev, getting Microsoft to recommend it, et cetera. That's how we got over 100,000 subscribers in a short period of time. And any business can do this. I believe that paying Google for eyeballs is a race to the bottom. Those AdWords are really, really expensive. And then you basically combine AdWords with SDRs, and all of a sudden you got to start pricing your stuff so that it's unaffordable to your customers. And that's why most of the CRMs today started out as affordable, $25 per seat per month. And now they're, you have to call them to get the pricing, right? They don't even list their pricing. And the reason is because they have to spend all the money on the AdWords, and then SDRs are 100,000 plus per year. And they just don't have an SDR. They have an SDR, and then they have a sales executive. And essentially, I think most of those VC funded CRMs are going to go out of business because they're just too big and bulky and complex and expensive. And I think it's not just the CRM companies. I think most SaaS companies are struggling with this exact same thing. And then you throw on top of that AI that's upsetting the whole eyeballs that they were getting from Google. And all of a sudden, I think there's a lot of SaaS companies out there that are teetering. And so with Nimble, the way I did it is I said, you know what? Let's create a platform that people love. Let's get other people to talk about how they use it and love it. And let's make a single price where you don't have to upsell them to the $150 version. And let's give them a singular system that gives them the SFA stuff that they need for the sales reps, the email marketing stuff they need for the marketing people, the contact manager and relationship system that the whole company needs. And people self-service themselves. And if they want to talk to somebody, they talk to somebody in success. And that person is on the phone talking to them about their needs. And if we have to recommend them another product, we do. But guess what? That person's still going to recommend us because of the experience that they had.
I want to come back to like what we were talking about a few minutes ago. Because our audience is founders who may or may not be in a technology sector and may or may not have a SaaS company. They may have a services company and they have something totally else. And sales looks really different in all these different sort of verticals, right?
Yes.
And so if the problem is integration and the problem is alignment between marketing and sales, and they're not talking to each other and they're not compensated in a way that, gets the behavior that we're looking for, what do we do differently now? And I'm really with you on the idea of services sales, because like my team, one of my team members is a she does engagement and she does support, but she's fully trained up in selling because she watches for the sales opportunity with every single person that reaches out into our support inbox. So what do we do differently as founders to get past this misalignment between getting the eyeballs and making the eyeballs into a customer?
Well, like I said in the beginning, I think one system, one North Star, and
One single source of truth. I totally agree with that.
Single source of truth. And then replace the whole MQLs with sales accepted leads. In other words, define what a sales. So right now it's a marketing qualified lead as opposed to a sales accepted lead. And if they talk to the sales rep and said, what do you guys need in order for you to achieve your goals? And marketing is creating sales accepted leads as opposed to marketing qualified leads, then salespeople approve the definition of what that is. And there's no fake alignment that happens between them. And then I think speed the lead. So basically most leads die because you don't get to them fast enough. And I really believe that under 5 minutes is ideal. Under 15 minutes is acceptable. And over 30 minutes, they're dead. And so I think that you need to really track and publish the response times that you're doing with your leads, and then create a weekly stand-up where you are getting the revenue team talking about what were the best leads and why, and what are the worst leads and why, and talk about where buyers are stalled, and that type of where you're really giving a voice to the sales team and they're communicating with the marketing team and they're aligning on what's needed for the salespeople to succeed. And the marketing people can see that the salespeople are jumping right on their leads because they hate each other. They really do. But they wouldn't. What's that?
Why?
Because they don't trust each other and they don't communicate with each other. And marketing thinks that salespeople don't follow up on the leads, and salespeople think that the marketing leads stink. But if the marketing people ask the salespeople, what kind of leads do I need to give you for you to be successful? And the salespeople demonstrated that they're jumping on the leads like it's this gold, and they're converting them, and they're both winning because they're hitting the numbers. It's a whole different energy that happens. And all of a sudden, success breeds success, and you're killing it.
It's a feedback loop, right? Like sales feedback loop into marketing. Like that always has been the case, and that should always be the case. And I'm curious why that, like, why does that? It's not like everybody just walks into sales and marketing organizations with this preconceived cultural notion that we're supposed to fight, right? And I think what I'm getting at and I'm sort of poking at is that this is beyond a systems problem. That I like, what are you noticing from the folks that use your tools, the ones who are successful and the ones who are not as successful, from a leadership perspective, from a compensation perspective, from a like what's the common thread between the ones who are working well and the ones who are not?
The ability and willingness to think outside the box.
Okay.
To not necessarily do things the way they've always been done. Yeah. I think that the ones that are looking at it, the perspective of not bagging and tagging. I think that there's not only distrust between sales and marketing, but between salespeople themselves. That they basically are not. They're fighting each other over the leads or over compensation. And so I really believe that you need to align the whole company as a team. My dad said that teams that work together wins games. And I think that most of the compensation that businesses have traditionally done is aligned to basically get salespeople to fight each other to the death and to basically beat on leads till they buy or die. I mean, I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of the Oracle or sales rep salesperson that is just, eating people like wolves. And I think that mentality has to change. I think that we need to look at customers not as what we can get what we can get from them, but what we can give to them. And that has to be infused into the salespeople as well. And so it's a whole mentality shift of the way that you do business. And I really believe that it really goes back to this philosophy that I have on what is our purpose on this planet. And when I sold Goldmine, a year after I sold it at 41, I got a head tumor and I almost died. Luckily, I went to a really good hospital and I did some Eastern things that helped. But I did some soul searching and some spiritual work. And I came to the conclusion that I'm not on this planet to make as much money as I can, but as much memories out of the moments with people I cherish, and really ultimately to grow my soul. And I think that if you as a business person looked at your constituency and said, what can I do to help these people grow? And you basically instilled that into your salespeople and rewarded them, not on the sale, but on the success of the customer over a period of time, that it would change the philosophy of your sales reps and also the perception that you get from the customers. And not only would they pick up the phone and call you the next time they want to buy from you, but they would drag their friends with them. And I think
John, do you have a book?
So
I've never asked a guest that before, but there's so much to unpack of what you said. And there's I think over the last 5 minutes, you've said things that each one of them could be their own How to Founder podcast episode. So there's so much to unpack. I would love to know if you're writing this wisdom down. I have one in the works.
Wiley has begged me to do a book for decades, and I'm finally doing it because I really believe it's in the power of relationships. And so I've got the domain, and I'm putting together the structure of the book. And it'll be kind of what HubSpot did with inbound marketing, but it'll be about relationships, because I believe that the more digital we get, the more human we need to be. And I think that with all this automation, that we're really getting that humanness will make you stand out as a company, and purpose will make you stand out as a company. And when you go to a company, and you go to any CRM or any email marketing company today, they obfuscate their pricing. They don't want you to know what it really costs or what you really get for that until they get you bought in where you're stuck. And I know this for a fact because our team tries to analyze the competitors' pricing and feature sets, and you can't get at it. They won't let you at it. And so I just believe that the way we do business is wrong. And I think that the sales and marketing disconnect is a factor of that sort of history. And I believe we just need to change that. And it comes from a philosophical belief in, why are you in business? Are you in business to make money? Well, I can tell you, I've made a lot of money, and money isn't it. Money isn't it. My soul has been grown more by spending a brief period of time just giving somebody my eyeballs in their presence. I remember at South by, I was standing there next to Gary Vee, and I just said a little something to him, and he turns around to me and goes like this, chills. Right?
You could become an influencer just with that story.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like bringing that back to the business that you're in, CRM is customer relationship management, right? If we just if we all had the goal of making our customers fall in love with us,
yes,
it's a relationship, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we need to be measured on. And I think a lot of founders found their businesses and they're not business experts. And so they lean on the tried and true, knowledge and teaching around sales and around marketing. And this is where we end up with these weird, like Glenn Ross sales teams that still are perpetuating like old, and this is the whole,
coffee is for closers.
It's where the concept of the CRO comes from, trying to align everybody around the revenue and blah, blah, blah. I think work to do there for sure. But
There's 221 million global businesses. Less than 1% use any CRM. Most people's CRM is a spreadsheet because people can understand rows and columns of contacts, but spreadsheets are static and they die. And CRM stands for customer relationship management, but it should stand for customer reporting management, because basically there are command and control and reporting systems that enable management to keep the finger on the pulse of business and the hand around the neck of the salespeople. And the salespeople know that. And that's why they hate their CRMs. And what they do is they feed the CRM once a month so they don't get in trouble with management, and they have their own tools. And so I'm speaking to all the sales reps out there today. Go use Nimble, because you should have your own personal CRM. You should have your own golden Rolodex, because you're going to go work someplace else one day, and you're going to have to bring your brand and your network with you. And to owners, give them a CRM that they'll love to use and that delivers all that reporting and stuff that you need, and not make it so they got to go buy 5 tools that is the sales technology slice of death cut by 1,000 cuts.
But also fix your culture, fix your team structure, fix your leadership,
yeah, because the whole philosophy of Nimble is that you want to dance with your relationships like Fred Astaire. See, the problem with most companies, their CRM is for salespeople to track prospects. Well, guess what? Most of the constituency around your business aren't prospects or customers. It's that virtual garden around your business that you need to nurture in order for you to be top of mind. So it's the trusted advisor of your prospect. It is the editors, analysts, bloggers, influencers, third-party developers, investors, advisors. Where do these people go? I hope they're not going in Outlook, because it sucks as a contact manager. I know, because I invented contact management before Outlook existed with Goldmine. And the heart of Goldmine was contacts, relationships. And Google Contacts isn't a good contact manager. My Outlook isn't. And so I think every business should have a single source of truth relationship. They should have a single system that does their sales and marketing, but they really should rethink, why are we in business today? I'm in business because I want to change lives. I want to grow souls. I want to help people achieve their dreams. And the best way I can do that is building a relationship manager that enables them to build the connections that allows them to achieve their purpose in life. And if their purpose in life is to make as much money as they can so they can fill their garage with a bunch of shit from Costco, well, God bless you, and I wish you well. But the reality is that that's not why we're here on this planet. And so the next time you're at the grocery store, put your fucking phone down and actually look that person in the eye and give them the gift of your eyes and your ears, and ask them how their day's going, and shut up and listen. Because
you have a nice head of hair. Do you remember what book that's from? How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's what he suggests that you do. How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's what
Dale Carnegie book.
You know what?
Head of hair.
You know what? These are the books that have changed my life, right? Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Winning Friends and Influencing People, Dale Carnegie. Zig Ziglar. You can get more you can achieve more by helping other people get what they want. And so these are the basics, and I think we've forgotten the basics. And I think it was the go-go 80s and 90s where it became all about the mighty buck. And I really believe that if you want to fix the problem with sales and marketing, you need to fix the problem with companies. Why are you there? Who are you 100%. Serving? What is your goal? And
I will say I have a degree in internet marketing from 1998. Mm-hmm. And what I will say is that, like, I was the second class through at the university for the internet marketing program. And I will say that not much has changed. We have better technology, we have better tools, we have better, like, way more people, but the concepts are still the same. And that's why we can look at a book that's, 60, 70 years old and say, this still applies, right? Because we're writing about concepts, we're writing about relationships. And I would say, like, the way that we use our CRM is that we're tracking potential customers, but more what we're tracking are referral partners, collaboration partners, like people who can broaden our horizon and lend us their audiences, because those are going to be a whole lot less work than, running ads and trying to get the incremental stuff in. Anyway, I digress.
So people think that influencer marketing is kind of brand new. There was a milk company in New Zealand in 1890 called Defender Milk. And Defender Milk wanted to sell their milk around the world. So they developed powdered milk, and they started selling powdered milk, and they started getting letters from moms about how do they convert the powder into milk, and is it safe for my baby, and all these questions. And somebody at the company started collecting all these letters, and they started publishing it. And it basically became the Gerber baby book or something like that. It sold more than the Bible. And that company today is Glaxo Wellcome. Right. And Goldmine. So Goldmine, I started a company on $5,000. Me and my buddy from college, we both took Calc 1, 2, 3, differential equations, linear algebra, and numerical analysis with each other. So he's the smartest guy I knew. And he did electrical engineering. I did computer science. And when we started Goldmine, we had this great program, right? The first networkable email content calendar sales marketing program. But how do you sell it? How do you sell somebody they don't even know that they need? Because networking software just happened. So what I did is I figured out the best way to get to a small business is through their trusted advisor. Guess what? Who sold them the network that allows them to tie all those printers and hard drives and PCs together? The Novell reseller. So what I did is I picked up the phone and I cold called every single Novell reseller in the country, and I got them to use it because people say what they know and they know what they use. They started recommending it, and that's how we got to our first $100,000 a month in revenue. And then they said, John, I want leads. And I said, well, I don't know how to advertise, but where do people get leads? Well, maybe it's from where they learn about technology, PC Magazine, Forbes, PC Computing. So I called up the editors at PC Magazine. I said, how can I help you write more stories? They said, tell us stories about how people are using technology. So I started telling them stories about how people are using technology. And there was no word CRM back in these days. And so there's a guy named Jon Tashik, who was the editor at PC Computing. He's now head of strategy at Salesforce. Has been that way since 1999 when they started. I taught him about CRM, but he's actually the one who put Goldmine on the map. So we got more print and more awards than all the other products combined. And then that's like another leg of the tripod. And then Microsoft wanted to eat Novell by launching NT Server, SQL Server, and Exchange Server. And my customers wanted to have a more scalable backend database than DBase, more scalable transport than POP and IMAP, and a more scalable server than Novell. And my resellers wanted to make more money than on every Goldmine software dollar on services. So I basically built Goldmine Enterprise, which required a seat of SQL Server, Exchange Server, and NT Server. And Microsoft pushed the crap out of us. And our customers were able to scale to billions of records. So we got 50 of the Fortune 500 companies. And our Goldmine resellers were making $10 on every Goldmine dollar. So that strategy of leveraging the trusted advisor to get your foot in the door, influencer marketing, guerrilla PR, and biz dev is essentially how we grew Goldmine on $5,000, never took a dime of venture, no investors, and grew it to hundreds of millions and sold it for cash 10 years later. And we're doing the same thing here at Nimble. And any business can follow this exact methodology. But the thing that really was different about Goldmine, and even more so with Nimble, is our philosophy, right? Like, we were there to change lives, and we changed the lives of our team members. We changed the lives of our resellers. We changed the lives of the editors and the biz dev partners. And when I went to connect with Microsoft 20 years later with Nimble, the doors were open for me at Microsoft. And when I went to LinkedIn and said, give me your private APIs, nobody's ever gotten LinkedIn's private APIs. They said, oh yeah, because it was the purposefulness that I went in the door with. And I think that really changes the way a business is perceived.
So I got one more question for you, and then maybe we go to
the speed round. I also wanted, before you do that, Steph, I want to mention one thing that I think Jon really hit on that is counterintuitive for most founders. So most founders, most CEOs think that they just need to do more marketing and more sales. They're not leaning in on those. You figured out a way to grow really nice businesses, thinking about those things not in the traditional sense. You said you don't even have salespeople or marketing people. You're just doing it service first. I think that's really, really a fascinating way to look at it. Go ahead, Steph.
So circling back on everything you just said, as a founder, coming back to these folks who have, early stage businesses, would you say that your best move in terms of building sales is not to build a sales team and not to bother with ads and all that sort of thing? Go invest in partner marketing and look for those audiences that you can borrow first, because that's not what most founders learn, right? I know that we built our consulting company entirely through our Microsoft relationships and our relationships with Lars and that sort of thing. And they would just bring us, there was like symbiosis that we provided a service that was really beneficial to their clients, and they would get us in the door for their bigger clients. So if you are founding a business right now, would you recommend that a founder puts their sales and marketing effort into building those partnership relationships first?
Absolutely. I've seen so many people waste so much money on hiring expensive consultants to build the brand, and then advertising and salespeople. And you could spend a lot of money on those aspects. But if you really go out and do the biz dev, the influencer marketing properly, the guerrilla PR, and find your niche and grow that like a Trojan horse, you can really scale a business, because like I shared before, it's more powerful when other people talk about you than when you talk about you. Besides, nobody wants to hear you talk. And so stop talking about how great you are, and start talking about how great you can make other people.
Yeah,
that's amazing. All right, so Jon. It is time. We're this is a great conversation, but it is time for the speed round. Our first question: sales should.
You need to give our guests a chance to get emotionally prepared for the speed round.
Okay, is that enough time? All right. Sales should write their own emails or use marketing templates. Which one?
Write their own.
What percentage of a salesperson's comp should be tied to marketing sourced pipeline?
10%.
Marketing sits on sales calls, helpful or territorial invasion?
I think it's great. I think salespeople should sit on support calls, and marketing people should sit on sales calls. I personally do that myself. So at Goldmine, I went and sat in the support with the support team, and I talked to customers, and I still do it today. And I learned more by being in those trenches than I would by reading a report.
Yeah, totally agree. So should SDRs report to marketing or sales?
I think it should be one team.
Lead scoring, is that science or theater?
Theater.
All right. This has been a great conversation. Some deep dive resources for everybody. First of all, go to nimble.com and follow to Jon Ferrara on LinkedIn. Deep dive resources: Revenue Operations by Sean Lane and Laura Edint, and the Sales Development Playbook by Trish, and I'm going to get her name completely bastardized, Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi.
Have you met Trish, by the way?
I have not.
I could introduce you. She's amazing.
We would love to have her on the show. That would be awesome.
Jon,
where can our listeners learn more about you?
Google me, JonFerrara, and pick a spot that feels good to you. Google yourself too while you're at it, because if you don't show up where you want to be, you can fix that. Build a Wikipedia page for yourself. Just follow the rules, or else they'll rip it down. My email is jon@nimble.com. If you want to reach out to me, please do. I'd love to find a way to blow some wind into your sails. If you go to nimble.com and you sign up for a trial, it's free for 2 weeks, and you think it might add value to your journey, use the code JON40, JON40. That's 40% off for your first 3 months. And remember, your purpose in this life is to grow your soul in the brief period of time that you're here. And the best way to grow your soul is by helping other people grow theirs. Rinse and repeat.
I'm going to go hug my kids.
Yeah.
Stephanie, why don't you close this out?
Thanks so much for listening. Please be sure to come visit us at howtofounder.com, and you can connect with us on LinkedIn, subscribe to our YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify channels. And remember, you are the pioneer of economic prosperity. We are so grateful for you being here with us all along the way, and we can't wait to see you on our next episode.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jon. Thanks, Stephanie.
Yeah.